Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Emma J. Carter. She is founder of It's a Lifestyle. Welcome, Emma.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. I loved meeting you for the first time about a month ago, and just I'm excited to dive in and have you share everything about your life and lifestyle. So we're going to jump right in. Emma J.
Great.
Carter comes from 6 generations of entrepreneurs, a family rooted in grit, creativity, and the belief that you can build something out of nothing. Growing up on Canadian construction sites, she was studying blueprints by age 7 and absorbing fundamentals of structure, design, and how to make spaces work. At 19, she moved to California to study event management and concert production at San Diego State University. Graduating in the 2008 economic collapse, Emma pivoted the way her family always had, boldly. She entered the nightlife and entertainment world, hosting artist after parties at House of Blues San Diego, then moved to Los Angeles to run VIP operations for major venues and produce large-scale events, including all-star weekend experiences. Her production instincts led her into broadcasting, where she produced an internationally syndicated classic hip hop radio show hosted by her husband. The show ran for 8 years and featured iconic guests, including A Tribe Called Quest, as well as 2 historic interviews with the late Jerry Heller, now archived in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and featured in major documentaries. Emma later joined 93.5 K-Day, overseeing the station's 2 largest annual concerts at legendary venues like the Forum. Recruited by a top agent, she spent 7 years producing multi-city tours for major hip hop artists, including Bone Thugs and Harmony, DJ Quick, The Dog Pound, Scott Storch, and Snoop Dogg, reviving and producing Snoop's iconic Puff Puff Pass tour. After years of travel and high pressure productions, Emma felt called back to her early creative roots: design, structure, and helping people create homes that function beautifully. The spark came during a drive through Malibu with her best friend. What if she could bring order to chaotic worlds through design? Emma continues to bridge entertainment and design, recently collaborating with the upcoming Hip Hop Museum in Brooklyn and helping mass appeal catalog and archive historic handwritten notes and memorabilia. For Emma, it's just never about space, it's about the story, the lifestyle, and the transformation that happens when everything finally works. Welcome, Emma. Wow. Okay. I don't know where to start. That's just, I mean, first of all, you make it sound like you're 102 because you everything you have packed into your short life is quite incredible. So usually I start with, where did you start from, Canada, and did you know where you were going to be today? And definitely you did not, from what I learned when you and I spoke.
Not
So
at all.
let's move back a little bit in Emma's short, long life and talk a little bit about your background. And oh my God, reading blueprints at age 7, that was just, I was like, okay, stop here. Talk about early life. And then, gosh, I don't know, stop wherever you want and we'll pick up wherever. I mean, it's just so much. And then we have to get to what you today is, you know, lifestyle and organization and everything you do in your career today. But let's go back a little bit and learn about little Emma.
It's funny because my dad at my wedding said that it's like the entrepreneurship of Emma Josephson, almost
Yeah.
like, which is my maiden name, which is what the J stands for. But yeah, just everything I've done and that has been a part of me made up to what I do now. I um, kind of in a way feel like, yeah, there's other organizers out there and we all have our niches, but I definitely kind of created my own lane. Within my music past. But yeah, going back to being born and raised in Canada, I'm from Vancouver Island, Victoria. If you've been there, most people are like, what are you doing in Los Angeles? Because it's so beautiful.
I
So I'm born and raised there, and my dad started a general construction company, mostly in commercial construction, and had it for over 50 years. It's still family run to this day. So I grew up with a dad on a job site all the time, and I loved that, and I was always so into design, like, even at 5, 7, 10, he was asking me, "What color this should be," or, "Do I like these things together?" And I would go and pick stuff for him, and these finishes were going into commercial buildings. So, it just was always kind of a part of my makeup. I used to love going to his office on the weekend with him when it was quiet and put in orders of office supplies they needed, and was always just doing that stuff, organizing his blueprints. And it's just a part of me. So
Right.
that's where I started. And I always knew that I was going to end up in California. I'm a dual citizen. Um, I felt like the opportunity was more for what I wanted to do in the event world in California. And I grew up with my grandparents living in Oceanside. So going to San Diego State and making that choice, even though my grandparents had left, it was it was an easy choice for me. I knew San Diego and I loved the city, and I didn't know anybody there. And they had this program for concert production and event management, and I got accepted and didn't look back.
Gosh. So tell us a little bit about that journey and what you learned. It sounds like you knew what you wanted to do, which was really great because a lot of people don't know what they want to do. So you went into event management. So tell us a little bit about that and what you learned from doing that, because that you were juggling a lot and you were working with a lot of high-powered people too.
Yeah, so with the event management thing, I just always love planning events. And for me, where the design came into that and the angle I was expecting my career to head was event production and design. So coming out with, ballroom floor plan layouts, or even the layouts of trade shows and things like that. So I really thought that I was going to be going in that direction. But when I graduated in 2008, budgets were being cut in half. A $50,000 wedding was now being cut to 20, if that. And so event companies were just not hiring. Um, so I thought, I'm 20, 21. Like, what better thing to do than work in the nightclub industry? And I had an opportunity to do that, and kind of just took it from there. It just kept evolving into like what the next thing was for me within that career. Even though it was still events, it still technically was events. It just wasn't kind of maybe the creative part of events that I wanted to do, but it still was the event industry.
Right, absolutely. So you developed, well, tell us a little bit of Puff Daddy, not Puff Daddy. Well, I'm so bad. You could tell I
It's
was trying to confuse myself with people.
Not Puff Daddy, Snoop Dogg. Yeah, and the
Yes,
Puff Puff
okay.
Pastor,
Date
easily
yourself.
confused.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
about that
I
experience.
pardon?
Tell us about that experience and what you did for him and with him. It sounded like it was something pretty significant.
It was significant. So in 2001, there was a tour that was touring called the Puff Puff Pass Tour, and it was Snoop Dogg's tour. And he actually stopped by my hometown for this tour, and I went to the concert. And it wasn't until years later I found the ticket stub that I was like, after I brought back the show for Snoop. So I became a part of an agency. This guy named Jamie Adler, really well known in the classic hip hop industry, saw what I was doing at K Day and basically was like, come work for me. And so I moved into a COO position at his booking agency, and he represented Bone Thugs, DJ Quick, the Dog Pound, all of basically the classic West Coast artists. And we had an opportunity to bring back this tour, 15 years later. So we put this entire tour together, the lineup, all of the tour stops. I handled all of the radio and press for it. Basically, what I did at that agency was like organize the entire tour and give all
Wow.
of the artists and the tour managers, the run of the show, the run of the days, what cities they're going to be in, where they're staying, even though we had an amazing travel agent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I basically was organizing multi-city concert tours. So once again, some sort of organization and structure was in the career that I was in that now I use today in my business.
Right. So let's jump into that. So you just have an
Mhm.
incredible, tell us about the story with your girlfriend and how you got started and what you're doing today, and then properly define what it is you do today.
So I was kind of feeling a shift. I always knew I wanted to work for myself as much as I loved my job and loved the agency. I just didn't think that that's where I was going to end up. I started planning another tour. It was a very large tour that Live Nation wanted to buy. Um, that just ended up not, it just fell through for multiple reasons. And it just kind of made something click in me as like, you know what? This is not what I need to be doing. I need to be doing something more creative. And so I left that position and that agency, not really knowing what I was going to do. But I've always just been one of those people that like you get a gut feeling, and I always just dove and took the leap. And now looking back on it, almost 40, I'm like, it's a little scary, but I did it. And I don't think that if I didn't take that step that I would have ended up in the place that I was, which was driving my best friend to the airport to go back to Canada. And we had a little bit of time. We wanted to go coastal. We ended up in this beautiful little neighborhood in Malibu, and we were driving around. And I randomly said, as just a comment my father would make, is like, I wonder what's in their garages. And my friend who's known me for 20 plus years is like not shocked by this random comment that I would, and says, I know a woman that actually goes into homes like this. And she used to be, an executive assistant like you and doing things like you with high net worth, high profile people. And now she has a business that she actually goes into these homes and organizes them. And I said, that's not a job. And so I dropped her off at the airport and I went home and I started Googling and I really did my research and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a job. Like, this is not just a job, it's a career. Like, this is a business. And so I had a close friend at the time, was an estate manager for a very high profile person. I reached out to her and said, hey, I have this idea for this business. Do you think this would be something that, people in your position would be interested in? And she was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yes. And so I basically taught myself how to build a website. This is 8 years ago, put
Wow.
it together, reached out to people that I worked with in the music industry. And one of them, I have to shout him out, is Brian Shafton, was my first client. And if you look up Brian, he's done many amazing things. He works with E40 and just so many amazing artists. And I told him that this was my new business and what I was doing. And he said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Come to the labels office and do whatever you want to do. And that was pretty much my first project. And I since went back to that office and decorated the whole office. And I actually have done an entire home for Brian and his wife. And it just, from there, it just flourished. But at first, people were very confused. Like, why is she leaving this kind of shiny job in music and Hollywood to basically, I guess what people think is like kind of cleaning people's homes, even though it's
Right.
not.
Right, exactly.
Nothing with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, people were very confused. This is right before Marie Kondo came out.
Oh,
So, I
wow.
mean, if you build it, they will come. And so I just kind of hit the ground running, and 8 years later, and so, yeah, I just feel like my history of working with people, artists and people in the industry, they're so creative and they're so smart and their mind is in a million places,
Yeah.
but they thrive so much on having a system, but because their minds are so creative, they don't know where to start on
Right.
creating this system. So I just thrive working with, I call it creative chaos. I
Right.
speak that language. I've been around it for over a decade. So it just was natural for me to move into that be my mostly my clientele. Um, so yeah, it just taught
Well,
me so much.
Well, what's so great, so interesting, and that's why I said for you to describe what you do, because when I was introduced to you as an organizer, which you do, of course, do, but it's on steroids. So, as an organizer, someone that comes in, they might outfit my closet with custom closets, and you would design that, you would measure that. You might organize my garage and my drawers. Okay, that's what most people think as an organizer, but you take that to the nth degree. So, let's talk about all the different things you do, because you do design, you buy furniture, you also organize. And then beyond that, you routinely go into people's closets every other week or month to change out their closets. So let's talk a little bit about that. So tell us all the different things that you do within this organizer.
I I know, that's why I just mean, like, every experience of my life does make up part of my business. So the building and measuring and blueprints and designing, I mean, that was my entire childhood and life and a passion of mine. Like, while my friends were playing other computer games, I was on floor plan 3D. Like, this was, I enjoy, like, genuinely enjoy that stuff. Like, I nerd out over empty bins and spaces. So yeah, I mean, I just love spaces and space planning, and I been doing this for so long. I can look at a space and know what fits, and I can see what you own and know what'll work and what won't. And so people with collections will come to me, and somebody will tell them this is not going to fit, and I come here and tell me, just say, what wall are we taking down? I'm ready to make it work, even within those walls. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of naturally progressed just with my design passion. And I have done some schooling in design as well. And I have a great team for support for that. I have somebody that does like all of my CAD for me. And it's just a seamless from beginning to end. And then I have different builders just depending on, what people's budgets are and what materials kind of flow with the rest of their home. So yeah, like even just last week, I turned over a full home office for a client of mine who I did a custom closet for last year. She had a desk that she was in love with and said, I'm going away for 3 weeks. Can design around this desk that I love and make this a space for me? And so from beginning to end, I project manage that whole project. We get the room emptied, we paint it, we prep it, I source all of the furniture, I gather it in my warehouse, we quality check, and then we do an installation. So yeah, I really pride myself on, yes, I'm an organizer, but I'm really an interior stylist. I love to style spaces, and that also means picking furniture. And I just feel like it really goes hand in hand. You move the stuff out, you make room, you bring the new pieces in, you move their things back in, you label everything, you give them a system. It's just really beginning to end a seamless service. And I love it. I love every point of it.
I just can't wait to get you to my house. Oh my God.
Oh, me
I
too.
listen to you and just see the spaces just come together. So yeah, you do a lot. So you also work between Los Angeles, well, Canada and New York. Any differences that you see in clients or how people live?
Well, I think it comes down to just the differences in the cities and the spaces people live in, really. Obviously, clients in Connecticut don't have as much issue, or clients in Jersey, but my clients in Brooklyn and Manhattan in the city, I mean, they're fighting for space, fighting for closet space. I do
Right.
have to say, though, in New York, people have entry closets. It's entry closets are touch and go in California. It's funny because they have so much. I mean, the entry closets are probably about a quarter of the size they need to be for the coats they need in New York. But yeah, I just find with the size in New York City, I don't really like to encourage clients to have storage units. However, most likely with spaces and seasonal switchovers and being realistic of what people own, but we are intentional with that. So yeah, space is definitely a thing. I mean, people have basements and stuff there. It's just different here. People mostly have attics. Um, yeah, just the spaces. But all in all, families, CEOs, entertainment industry people, influencers, everybody's needs are the same. They want a system that works for them, and everyone's so different, and how people live so different. So I'll have somebody ask me, how do you organize a closet? And there's no real answer to that, like one answer, because what we do is just really so customized. You know, we have people that are on tour. They come in, they drop their bag off. Somebody dropped off a bunch of dry cleaning. So we'll come in, we'll integrate the dry cleaning into the system we already created. We'll empty those bags, just stuff that makes our clients' lives easier for whatever that may be in terms of how their household and business runs, is basically what we do. So it's a lifestyle. My business really stemmed from that, because it really is. And everyone's lifestyle is completely different. And
So
we
how
want to
often,
come up with a plan that, has longevity. It
right,
works.
right. So like for the person you're talking about now, we talked about him before. How often are you going to his house and how many people do you have working for you? I mean, you can't be everywhere.
No, I can't. I mean, I wish I could. And I have a toddler. So right now it's just like we're in a season, and I know this season it's ever changing and will pass. So we're really busy. But no, I have a great team. I have a couple of leads. I always touch on every project. When it comes to one-on-one sessions, I call them cleansing sessions, where we're going through your things and really cleansing what you don't need. I do work one-on-one with clients with that. My leads are there. So I have people with me that know the ins and outs of what every client needs. So no, I cannot be everywhere. So we offer a subscription service with my business. Once as we
Okay.
come into your space and organize it, we check in like we always do. And there's a large amount of clients that a subscription service is amazing for them. And that's also customized. So most people are every 4 weeks. We definitely kind of tops as 6 to 8 weeks, because everyone's life after that gets a little crazy. And we don't want to have to do like, a full reorganization. We will, but for the subscription service, we like to just, so I suggest what would work for that particular person. So the client you're asking about, yeah, it's every 4 weeks. Unless, he's on tour and gone for 2 months, then it might not make sense unless an assistant messages us and said, oh, we had a really big dry cleaning pickup or something. And then we'll adjust and accommodate.
I have never heard of a subscription service for an organizer, but it makes sense. You are a lifestyle organizer. So we're going to go on a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Emma J. Carter.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. Yeah, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorick, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorick has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Emma J. Carter. I like the middle name. I had him add that. So when I walk into a house as a real estate agent, people are like, oh, my house is so messy. And I said, no, no. When I come to your house, I don't look at that. I look at what I'm going to do. And how do you walk into a house, and are people reluctant, I'm sure, to let you in their house as well? So
Oh, yeah.
what do you say to them, and what's the first thing you're looking at when you go into a house as a professional, not as a
Well,
guest? At least I go in differently, and
yeah.
as a
I know
guest, you
everybody's like, you want to come over? And I'm like, no, I do. Like, I do not, we do not judge. We have
exactly
seen it all.
right.
But it's funny because in my initial email, we have a phone call first. It's the process to see, I just want to know about your project. And then I'll come and do an on-site consult or a video consult. And it specifically says in the email before I come, do not tidy.
Right.
Do not tidy, leave it. I like, because it benefits me so much to see how you're actually living and what's going on in day to day. If you tidy, I can't see that. And it's not that I can't help you. I just want to be able to really see what's going on. So I come in, I I mean, obviously I'm in the front entrance, so I do right away kind of look at the flow of that. Some clients have me come in for a particular room, so usually we'll just head to that. I kind of call it Pandora's box though, because what happens if somebody say they just want a kitchen organized? Fine, we'll do that. But then we always find something in the kitchen that should live in the laundry room, and then we go in the laundry room, it's kind of like, and so I just know everyone benefits from a system in the entire home. Just because it is the Pandora's box. But yeah, so we go to the specific room. I ask the client, like, what are your goals for this space? Like, what would you like this space to feel like? Because obviously it's not feeling the way they would want to be feeling, or else they wouldn't have called me. So I really want to know at the end what they're wanting to feel in this space. And then of course, like, what's not working? What's not working? This is me asking the client, what's not working? What is working? What do you think is, and then I go around, I listen to them, a lot of listening to just really what's frustrating them. And of course they are embarrassed and they are reluctant. But the thing is like, just everyone lives so much the same. There's like a very small percentage of people that are minimalists and that put things away right away. Or, so it's just like, this is how 90% of the population lives. Like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. This is a lived in home. You're a busy parent. You're a business owner. Just all of the things that make up our lives of why we're not on top of things at home sometimes. So yeah, I
Right.
come through, I listen, and then I do take pictures and measurements at my consults because once as I put the proposal together and everything, I just and you accept that proposal, I want to make sure that when we come on site that we have all of the materials needed, all of the bins, everything's available too, because since the pandemic, we all know that things do tend to be on back order a little bit more than they used to. So yeah, we just really want to be fully prepared and have everything, and we know the project from beginning to finish. And yeah, so that's basically just a lot of listening. What's working, what's not.
And it's interesting. You're really listening to how they live. So let's say let's go for an example. So if you were to, so ask me a question like, what are your, like, I've hired you now. What are the questions you're going to ask me? And I'm going to answer back so you can guide me best.
Okay, so are we in a particular room?
Let's start with my closet.
Your closet. Okay, let's say we go into the closet and there's shoes all over the floor,
Yeah.
and there's, like, say dry cleaning's not out of the dry cleaning bag, but it is hung up, just like typical things.
Yeah, yeah.
I would ask,
Overstuffed. It's a big closet, but it's overstuffed.
yeah. So one, I because I've been doing this for so long and I know people and I have a clothes-in closet too and things that get dusty, I can tell what hasn't been worn and what has been worn for a very long time. The shoulders on hangers tell everything. So, can't really lie to me.
Right.
I
Totally.
so yeah, I would look at the space and just say, if I saw a bunch of shoes gathered on the floor, like, do you not feel like you have enough shoe storage? Do you um do these have a home, or are we feeling too cramped maybe with the space we have to put the shoes and our collection? And then also shoes gather dust too, so I can see what hasn't been worn in a while. And
Right.
then, yeah, same kind of thing with the clothes. Like, we really just want to keep things that you love. And then, of course, there's things that you've worn that you've loved. I mean, a wedding dress is obviously extreme, but like, say there was a gala you went to, or there was a red carpet and there was something you didn't want to get rid of. And I love archival stuff. Like, I am not going to have anybody get rid of that. But depending on your space, like, I may suggest a company to properly store that. Or if I've seen the rest of your house, like, let's make this part of the guest room closet for your few little favorite archives or stuff. So I'm really scanning the entire space. And yeah, just more like, is the current storage you have working for you? Do you feel like you might be ready to get rid of this stuff? Because I don't like to pressure clients, but the reality is that they really are ready, or else they wouldn't have called me, you know?
Absolutely. And then do
So
you
yeah,
take
yeah,
a
I
lot
guess it's more just like, yeah, I want the space to work
of
for you.
Yeah, a lot of people are reluctant to get rid of stuff. They're like, well, because of course in real estate, I'm always helping people move, or they're not quite ready, and they're like, what am I going to do with all my stuff? So, when you're going through someone's closet, my closet, let's say, and there's some things, a lot of things that I haven't worn, and I'm like, oh, but whatever my excuse is. Do you have places to sell or donate, or what is the magic that you do to get people to release from their clothes from their closet that have been sitting there, but they are
Right.
loose clothes, but they haven't been worn for whatever reason. We were in, COVID, and our styles change, and et cetera,
So
et
much.
cetera.
Yeah. Of course, we have great resellers that we work with. It really depends on what city you are in and what it is that you have that you're selling. But I always let clients know, like, you are sitting on money, and there's a very good chance if you cleanse enough that is not serving you anymore or that you don't love, that this could pay for my services.
Good.
Like, it really, like, when people are determined and haven't ever worked with someone like me before, they're really putting off cleansing any part of the home because, I mean, look, if they've done it before, they wouldn't have been calling me, but they're also not doing it on their own, because doing it on your own takes 2 days, 3 days. You're, like, around all this overwhelming stuff, and when you work with a professional and someone like me, it's like, we do all of that work, and at least myself, I wait until everything's gathered and I pull the client in for a very small period of time because I don't want to overwhelm anybody. So
Right.
it's like, they would have done it already if it didn't seem so daunting, but like, this is what we do and we do it every day, and the cleanse that would take you 3 days took 30 minutes with us.
Wow, that's huge. That is big. And
So yeah, it sounds like you need a cleanse.
I absolutely. So if you were to say, what do you want your space to feel like? Everything in its place, and a place for everything. I love a hotel feel. I know we can't live in a
Oh, yeah.
hotel, but it would, there's just things, whether it's my bar card over there, or my photos over there, or, a drawer that is full of stuff that, doesn't, it could be empty and I probably wouldn't remember what was in there. But, and then the
Right.
clothes. I had two gay guys walk in my closet, and they're like, I go, oh, it's just so overpacked. And they're like, this closet is big. You shouldn't have this problem. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I know. And, oh, and
Yeah.
then there's garage. So the way it was laid out now, everything looks very neat, but those spaces like drawers and closets and garages, yes, very
Well, I
different.
mean, if you have a cupboard or something to close, you can shove stuff in there and close it up, and it just looks nice until you're really looking for something. But yeah,
Yeah,
our approach to the closets is like, we want you to feel like you're in a boutique. We
yeah,
want you to feel like you get to shop your closet every day. And yes, of course, like closet real estate is big. We want you to house everything, but we also don't want to overstuff things either, because I want you to be able to see your clothes. And if things are overstuffed, then you're not going to enjoy it. And if that means that, like, hey, we scale some items back and store them somewhere else for now, that's fine. And I don't want to encourage people keeping stuff that does not serve them. However, if you do, everyone's life is so different. If you have a social life and you're out and you're changing your clothes twice a day and whatever that may be, then yeah, we'll come and switch those out. And then you don't forget that, oh, I own that.
right.
So yeah,
I
but
love
we really want to give people that boutique feel. We want them to feel like, oh my gosh, like this is my closet. Like I own these clothes.
Right, right. No, I love it. I think it's great. But you're right, it does go because then it goes from the bathroom or the closet. Then you're in the bathroom and you're like, okay. So how often does that happen when you start with one room and then all of a sudden you're in the entire house? You've done the entire house.
98% of the time.
Yeah. There's no way you could stop.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't wanna pressure anybody to have to do more spaces, but once as we do one space, or say it was a kitchen, pantry, and laundry room, people really see the impact on their lives and how everyone in the household is operating, that it's just like a no-brainer. It's just like, oh my gosh, our mornings have been so much easier. The kids can find their shoes, they have a place to put their backpack. They're not looking for their, art supplies. So yeah, it's 98% of the time
Yeah, I can,
usually.
I can imagine. So gives as someone's contemplating calling you, because I'm sure after this people will be calling you, but what are some tips you can give to people, whether they're your client now or they have not, or just living in their house and they want to do something? Are there some tips you can give to people who haven't hired you yet,
Yeah.
to give them a way to live better and more comfortable?
So a couple, but they're the same thing, is just get yourself a big, beautiful basket. Spend the
Okay.
money, get a big, beautiful basket. And there's two things you can use that basket for that's going to help your life. One is put one in your closet and have that as your donate or just on the way out bin. When you
Good.
put something on and you're not feeling it and liking it, it goes in there. If you notice something in your closet that might have a little hole or like looks a little yellow in the armpit, I mean, these things happen, right? Just just put it in the bin, that helps significantly. And then you'll really realize, like, after a month or even 2 months, you're like, oh my God, the bin's full. Like, I
Wow.
can actually, so that helps get things on the way out. And then the other thing to use this big bin for is if you're busy and you're in and out and you're not somebody that is great at putting things away right away. And I do this because I have a toddler and mom business life is crazy. But every couple of days I take this bin and I take things off of the surfaces, because there's something about clean surfaces and your psyche and your productivity. So I'll just clear off every surface, some of the things that are on the ground. I'll just put it all in this big bin and I'll put it, in the guest room or by the end, just somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a nice bin to look at. And then every few days I'll take that bin and I'll put stuff away. And then I just am not feeling like, oh, I always got to catch up. I always got to, catch up. So just
I
get
love
yourself a big bin.
I love it. And it's so true. Like right now, the back of my car has things that need to go to the Salvation Army. It's like, okay, at least I can get it out of the house into my car. It's one
Oh,
step
yeah.
closer.
Getting it, right. It's like a reusable bag, getting it back into the car and then from the car to the store. Yes. No, that's everybody's story. Donations sit in the trunk for a while.
Oh my God.
But at least
So
it's out.
share share with us some great stories that have happened, how you've transformed people's lives who didn't even know they needed it. I'm sure with some of these men that you've worked with, they were living the way they were living, and then you knew them and you just already knew them, but then you came into their life as a different with a different skill set. So tell us how you changed their lives.
I love my male clients. I love all of my clients, but my single male clients, um, I'm almost like the girlfriend that they didn't really want, but they know that they need, but with like none of the girlfriend attachments, right? I just come in, I redecorate your house. I say, sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, your sheets are maybe looking a little tired. Let's just stuff that like
Uh,
a lot of men just don't notice necessarily." And so I'll come in and kind of what your girlfriend would do. And you redecorate room by room, or hey, you've had that artwork sitting there for a while. Do you want it hung up? Just, stuff like that, that I just think I went into a client's house a few weeks ago, and they've been a client for a really long time, and I've helped them bit by bit on things like this. And even my girls that were working with me, they're like, his house has just never felt better. And we've been going, and it's because we're kind of like, he's over the years agreed to, you know what, this room does need a little love. Or like, yeah, the artwork has been sitting there. We should hang it up. And so finally it's like all the artwork's up, all of his, and it just and then also sometimes people are like, I have great vendors, which I'm sure you do too, being a real estate agent. So much of our business is our Rolodex of amazing vendors. So, sometimes clients do need a housekeeper. So I sent a housekeeper over there, and I mean, she made the place sparkle. It makes our job look even better. So, yeah, just things like that, helping people out. My male clients out was just, things that they don't realize that they need, but I gently
right.
let them know that they do. And they're just so, I mean, they're just so grateful.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you are super busy. So are there any apps or any platforms? How do you stay organized? And what's your secret to staying organized with a toddler, a husband, a full-time business, and you travel to all these different places. So how do you manage?
How do I trying to still figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's just the seasons are always changing with a little one. And two, since the pandemic, as a business owner, I think we've all just realized that we have to be really adaptable and use things that help us save time. One of the really big things that I introduced to my business a few years ago is a Dubsado system.
What is that?
Um, it's a client relation management tool. They have a few different companies, Honeybook, Dubsado. I'm sure there's a bunch out there, but basically it helps me on my back end. Just like, I obviously customize all of my proposals and everything, but it's all just in the system. I can put in, the specifics of your job. I can switch things up, but everything's just really synchronized and looks great. It also reminds clients about their appointments, 3 days
Oh,
before, an hour before. The clients get a portal with their contracts and I give clients, like, it allows me to give them like a lookbook of what products they may like, or looks of, oh, want my pantry to look like this. I give questionnaires. So a client relations management tool has helped my business so much, just in terms of like just looking really refined and freeing up my time for having to remind people about appointments, or your deposit and signing contracts. So
that sounds like
I
a great.
highly recommend a client relations management tool for anybody in a service-based business. It's been life changing. And I hired somebody to put that together for me, because the reality is like there's only so many hours in the day. And I'm definitely the type of person that likes to learn new things, and I will totally master it. But like, so I hired a woman named Amber. She's amazing. And she's actually helped a lot of organizers. It's like her thing. So
Nice.
that was great. And then in terms of, teams in different areas, I personally use the notes in my phone a lot, because I'm a Mac user. So they go, into my iPad and everything. But for my team, I use Google Keep. or Asana, which a lot of people are familiar with. It's like a project-based app where you can invite people to projects, and then, there's notes in there of what's going on with the projects, things that need to be done, pictures. So, and just, good old-fashioned communication.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just such a detailed job. Everything needs to be written down and communicated, especially when we're dealing with builds and specs and measurements. And, so it's that saying, like, measure twice, cut once. Like, we measure 3 times.
Yeah.
You know?
And so tell us a little bit about that. Are you building houses now, or you do build for
We don't build houses. We do like anything custom storage within homes. So you want, custom storage or anything in the garage, pantries, um, obviously closets. I do absolutely love working with contractors, other designers and architects on overall flow of clients' homes, meaning like if I've worked with a client for a few years, I know it sounds really silly, but like if you're left-handed and right-handed, like that matters for when you're building a custom kitchen. And so things like that, like I'll just go through the plans and just see like, oh, do they have a spice drawer, a spice pullout? Like I know just things like that. So I'll work very closely with designers if the client wants, and obviously if the designer's willing. Usually it just ends up being a great relationship because I do a lot of what they don't want to do. But yeah, I it's all just very custom. So yeah, right now I have like 3 builds going on. We're doing a custom mudroom, a custom closet, and then one of the projects is actually just widening a closet door and adding an extra shelf because the closet door is just too narrow for how wide the closet is. So we'll come in and even make just minor adjustments to something that's already there and designed. Like you might have a great space. It's just a couple things need to be switched up for you.
So people can hire you in lieu of, for not obviously structural things per se, but people can hire you as the designer and as the builder because you have your people, correct?
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
So it just really like I work with a few different mill workers. And like I said, Los Angeles, California real estate. There's so many different types of styles of homes here that whatever I do, I really like to try and stay true to that. So if, there's like, for an example, there's a mid-century modern house in Encino that I've been working with the clients for over a year. And they moved into this mid-century. They're redoing the kitchen with a builder and a designer. I'm going to make sure that the layout's exactly and that like the drawer height, just certain things like that, just little details like that. But then the closet, I'm not going to go for like, a white closed doors with gold hardware and stuff. Like I'm going to go in for like a mid-century open
nice.
concept, floating drawers, like just so I would use a vendor for that that's like specializes in that stuff.
Love it. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So we are at the top of the hour. So how do people get a hold of you? Will you come to Northern California?
Oh, I'd
Uh,
love to. I'd love to. So you can find me on Instagram at lifestyle_organizer. That's my Instagram. That's one of the many things on my to-do list. I'm actually in the process of trying to hire somebody to help me with more my business Instagram because I have so much content. But anyway, so you can find me on lifestyle_organizer on Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. That's basically my name. But if you want to work with me, you're welcome to go there and send me a DM, or you can go to my website, which is www.itsalifestyleorganizing.com. And right there, you can click book now, and you fill out a very short questionnaire. It comes right to me, and we get on a 15-minute phone call, and I hear what your project's about, and we kind of just go from there. So yeah, I'm excited to see all new spaces.
That's wonderful. Well, you have been amazing. Thank you so much, Emma. I can't wait to work with you. And I actually have a referral for you for your social media since you must have so much content. I'm going to connect you with someone after the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for asking me to do this.
Welcome. Thanks so much.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.